National Weather Service confirming an EF0 tornado hitting part of St. Pete.
The tornado was on the ground for less than a minute, but it sure was powerful there. 10 Tampa Bay's Nick Valturo live outside the building that was damaged. Good morning, Nick.
Good morning, Caitlin. And like you said, 60 seconds, that's all it took for all this damage. I'm holding a piece of the roof that fell off, and you can see in this big pile over here, there is all sorts of pieces of the roof. They say the winds reached about 82 miles an hour yesterday, and just take a look. You can see all this mangled and twisted pieces of metal that came off that roof here on 6th Street South in St. Pete. Now, just look, you can see that right now there is this high voltage tape that reads across, blocking off this apartment complex here. That's because the power lines behind me came toppling down. You can see there is debris that came toppling down with it, hanging on those power lines. Now, we spoke with some residents here. They are unsure when they are going to be getting that power back. They are still out of power now. Like you were saying, this only took about 60 seconds for all of this damage, and residents say they started to hear the windows rattling, took shelter in their closets, and the sound felt like a freight train came barreling through.
Like a choo-choo train coming through almost, like a locomotive coming through because the wind was blowing real bad, and it was, you knew something was going wrong.
Now, we spoke with John Bailey, who you just heard from, and he said he's actually staying at his ex-wife's apartment because he's not sure when his power is going to come back on. We just ran into him. He was walking his dog. Now, one of the amazing things out here is, out of all this damage and everything that occurred, the roof being partially torn off the entire building, that there is no report of anybody being hurt or injured in all of this damage. So right now we're going to go over to our other reporter, Andrea Lyon, who's out in Shore Acres. And Andrea, what are things looking like over there?
Well, it's a lot better than we had predicted because we did get a lot of rain. We were expecting that surge, but that didn't come through. But you can tell just by coming back here, a lot of the roads, intersections, and low-lying areas like this are completely covered in water. But a lot of this has receded. We've been showing you. You can tell on the pavement over there. It was a lot higher before. We're seeing some water in the front of people's lawns, in front of their homes, but still not as high as it was. But if we show you some video from yesterday, we were driving through these neighborhoods in Shore Acres, and the water was several inches high from that strong storm that came through with a lot of rain very quickly. And again, we were expecting that surge to come through around 11 o'clock midnight last night, and that didn't happen because that coastal flooding warning did end. And so I think Shore Acres, a lot of these low-lying communities are breathing a sigh of relief this morning. But as it gets brighter, we'll be able to see just how wet this community is. I will say for drivers, though, take it slow through the neighborhoods because there are spots unexpectedly that are a lot lower than this, Caitlin, where you should really drive slow just in case it's deeper than you think.
Right. You want to avoid the standing water. You just don't know what's underneath it. Now, the good news, too, is that power's been restored for much of the area. I know yesterday our Aaron Parsegian was in the neighborhood, the wind's whipping there, and they did have some power outages, but that's all restored this morning, right?
Yeah, as we've been driving through here, everyone's lights are on. You can see as people are waking up, you can see the light through the windows. So good news here is that people didn't get it as bad as we initially thought it was going to be. Live in St. Pete, Andrea Lyon, 10 Tampa Bay.
Much better news for Shore Acres, thankfully, for the homeowners there. Thanks, Andrea.